Shalom. I am Rabbi Davidov, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Afar Israel. I want to wish everybody a Gemar Chatima Tova, a happy, healthy New Year. We just finished Rosh Hashanah yesterday, and we're now heading towards Yom Kippur. This Shabbat is called Shabbat Shuva. Shabbat Shuva is the Sabbath of returning. The word Teshuva, which we interpret as repentance, really means returning to God. Shabbat Shuva is the headquarters of being able to return to God for Yom Kippur. During the Rosh Hashanah services that we just read, we had the Unasana Tokef, that prayer in the Musaf Shmon Esrei, saying that on this day of Rosh Hashanah and sealed on Yom Kippur is decided who will live, who will die, who will be happy, who will be sad, who will be rich, who will be poor, who will suffer this or not suffer this, etc. And then it ends with three things. It says, Tshuva, Tefillah, Tshuva, Utzraka, Mavrim Nesrog. Is there a prayer, charitable good, charitable deeds, and repentance will avert the evil decree. What do we do with, what does somebody do who's not able to pray? They look at the words of the Machzor, which is the holy words that our sages put together for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and they don't get it. They don't understand the words. They can't read Hebrew, perhaps. And even if they can read Hebrew, they don't understand what it's saying. It doesn't seem to have any meaning for them. What do? How do they return to God? And we all want to return to God, get closer to God, because so many times, as it says even in this week's Torah reading of Vayelech, it says that God will appear to hide himself from us. We want to find God. We want to find where he's hiding. We don't want him to hide from us because of our bad deeds. So tefillah, prayer, is one of the ways of finding God. And how do we do that? So there's a beautiful story that is told about the Baal Shem Tov, the holy Baal Shem Tov, on Kol Nidre night. Kol Nidre night is the holiest night of the year for Jews. And he's preparing, the congregation's preparing to begin the Kol Nidre service. And suddenly, looking at him, it looked like his face became dark. A shadow came over his face. He looked very, very distressed. And something was really bothering him. But nobody dared ask what it was. And they began the Kol Nidre service with great fervor, really reaching out to God. And after the Kol Nidre service, which is the beginning of the evening service on the first night of Yom Kippur, there was a short break before the evening service began. And Baal Shem Tov was still standing in his normal place, apparently lost in thought, and suddenly a broad smile settled across his face, and he told them, begin the service. And after Yom Kippur, the night after Yom Kippur, he was in such a happy mood, and he told his students the following story. And this is what happened. He says there was a village, a small village, in which there was a Jewish person who leased land from a very wealthy landowner. That was his whole income. He would work the land and pay a sum of money to the land and keep the produce of the land for himself. That's how he made his living. And unfortunately, this Jewish farmer died one day, and leaving behind a widow and a small child. Shortly thereafter, the widow, from her heartbreak, died also, leaving this child, this small little Jewish child, alone. And the landowner, who was a good friend of this Jew, took the little boy into his own house. He had no children of his own, and he decided he would raise the child as one of his own. And several years passed. And the little boy grew up in a Christian home, a very wealthy home, knowing nothing about his Jewish origin. Once he was playing with some of the children who came to do business with the landowner, and one of the children pointed at him and said, "Jew boy," saying that he's not the landowner's son because his parents were Jews. So this little boy, let's call him Yoshua, asked the landowner to tell him about his parents, who they were, what they had done. So the landowner told him they were very honest people, pious Jews. They were among his best friends. But he said they were very poor and left you nothing but an old book and a tattered, faded bag. And Yoshua asked to see the things his parents left for him. And the landowner, who had kept them as a memento all these years, showed him an old-fashioned bag of tefillin and a thick book, which was a high holiday prayer book, a machzor. So Yoshua opened the siddur, the prayer book. He couldn't read a word of it. He didn't know what the pouch was for. So he asked the landlord to please give him these things, and he guarded them with his life, without knowing why or where. So this had to be treated with reverence. And a few days passed, and he went for a walk in the village. And as he was walking, he saw a number of Jews packing their belongings, ready to travel. And he said, "Are you going to the fair?" He said, No, we're not going to the fair. We're going to a nearby city for Rosh Hashanah, so we can pray together with all of the Jews." So he asked, "What is Rosh Hashanah?" They never heard of it. And they said, "This is the day of judgment, when we ask God to give them a sweet and good year in material things and in spiritual things." And the Jews looked at Yosla, reflecting sorrow and sympathy, and he felt they felt sorry for him, but they were afraid of the landowner. They couldn't say anything more. So Yosla returned to the landowner's house, and something mysterious happened. He was suddenly drawn to the conclusion that he's a Jew. He never knew that before. He was not a Gentile. That night he dreamed a dream in which his dead father came to him and said, "Yosla, my son, you're a Jew. Go to the synagogue and pray together with all the other Jews, and God will listen to your prayer." The next night he dreamed again. This time his mother said, "My dear son, you are a Jew. Your place is among your Jewish brethren. Today is Rosh Hashanah. Go to your Jewish brethren. It is not too late." So the next day, he didn't know what to do. The landlord was off on a hunting trip, so he decided that he would take the bag containing the prayer shawl and the prayer book that he had inherited from his father and go on his way. And he wasn't sure where he was going, but he wandered the roads until he reached a large city, and he asked where there was a Jewish synagogue. He was told, and he entered. He arrived there just the evening of Kol Nidre, and everybody was wearing white garments, praying with deep devotion. They were saying Kol Nidre, the special prayer. And the Jewish boy listened to the prayers of the people. They touched his heart. He wanted to pour out his soul in sweet prayer before his Maker. He didn't know how to pray. His pity, his anguish reached the heavens. And he said, Baal Shem Tov said, "I saw what was happening and this saddened me." Feeling that he might flee from the synagogue, God forbid, be lost to the Jewish people. Suddenly he opened the prayer book, opened the middle and said, Master of the universe, I don't know what to pray for and how to pray, what to say and what to ask. Here, Master of the universe, is the whole cycle of prayers. And may it be your will as if I had prayed them all. So he plunged his face into the book with bitter tears streaming down his cheeks. And when the Baal Shem Tov concluded this story, people wondered. And he told the people, he said, we too are like that lost boy. Do we really know how to pray? Do we know how to direct the pure intentions of our prayers? Here is the whole prayer book with all the prayers and the holy intentions that were put into it. Dear God, accept our prayers that come from the depths of our hearts and give us a good and sweet year. The message is clear. No matter what your level of knowledge of the ability to pray is, you can pray in any language, or even just like the little boy did. Hear God. Hear the prayers. I don't know how to do anything else, as long as you do it sincerely. And may the sincerity of your prayers, in whatever form they take, lead you, all of Israel, and the whole world to a new world of love, kindness, and closeness to God. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and Yomar Chatima Tova, a happy, healthy year.